Okay. Okay, think I'm live. Yep, cool. Alright. Good morning. Let me turn that down a bit. Okay. Very, very quickly, this will be the second part of a video that I put up, or I will put up soon. Basically, I built the Raspberry Pi arcade machine, the little tiny one, the bubble one with the little switch on it, and I was really proud of it. And as I was literally about to put it in the bubble wrap to give to the person that paid for it and I built it for and everything else, I was literally putting it in the bubble wrap, getting everything put together. I dropped it on the hardest bit of floor that I have in my house, and it just exploded into about 7 parts, and I was gutted, like properly gutted. So I figured I need to put it back together, I need to rebuild it. Why not just do it live? Because I've been busy at work and I'm busy capturing footage to make another video, a bit like my Disruptor video. I've got a sort of hour-long love-in for a game that I didn't even realise was a thing until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Anyway, let's have a look at the problem I've got at the minute. Alright, so as you can see, it's properly busted. I need to clean it and put it all back together. I've got some coffee, I've got a control pad, I've got some spare acrylic in case I need it, because you never know. I mean, if anything doesn't fit or it's snapped or I have an accident with a knife, don't know. Paint, because it's going to need repainting. White paint, I've already given it a little bit of white paint on the underside, but I'll explain that in a second. Medical gloves, because you don't want any of that paint or thing on your hand. Electrical tape, always handy. WD-40 is the best cleaning agent I've ever used. Tools, because we need them. Knives, like invaluable. I've got 3 boxes of knives. No more nails. Soldering iron in case any of the solder points are broke. And glue gun and spares. I've got solder. I've got that's a spare battery actually. I don't know what that's from. Loads of stuff. Masking tape, Sharpies, stuff like that. For anyone that doesn't know, I build all of my Raspberry Pis by hand. Literally everything. I build them myself from cheap Chinese parts, which I then spray paint, use knives, use sandpaper, use files. No power tools, no 3D printers, nothing like that. That goes for my controllers and things like the PlayStation Classic, which I'm actually using. Well, it's not the PlayStation Classic. My apologies. The PlayStation Legacy. I keep forgetting. Again, all hand built. So I've got tunes. I've got. There we go. I've got tunes and I've got coffee. So let me just whack this in the tripod and see what I can do with it. I'm just going to charge that. Alright. Let's have a quick look. No. Why are you upside down? Don't be an idiot. There you go. Turn around. There we go. Attaboy. Alright. Alright. Now let's see the inherent problem. I mean, the biggest problem I've got at the minute is the temperature. It is hot. Hot in here. Alright, I can turn my tunes up now. I normally do this to like Creedence Clearwater and stuff like that, but I'm having a little bit of a chill out day today. Ooh, Jesus. Right, there we go. How are we doing? Alright, let's look at the problems. First of all, I've got to see where the actual issues are. let's take that off. Alright. Okay. Alright, so these were the side panels. And I can't even remember which one's which. I'll have to look back the video, but I think... I mean, I can check from how much paint's missing on the underside. I would have said that one's maybe the blue side is there, and the green one was there? Or is the green one and the blue one like to match the top? I can't even remember which one's which. I might have to look at the my old YouTube videos before I start putting that one together. And this is the front panel, so I can get that on first. And don't worry about the paint on the top. I'm going to actually put binding. Like you have binding on the side of a guitar, I'm going to have that on the top. Alright, yeah, that goes there. This bit goes here, actually clips on. That sits on. And this bit is to stop light flooding from those lights under there. And I think the smooth side goes under like that. But it goes inside and over that black panel there. So, all the connections look good. The buttons look alright. The paint job is just wrecked. Yeah, the paint job's... I mean, I've tidied it up as much as I can. It doesn't look that bad, but I'm still not pleased with it. Alright. Everything else looks okay. The paint on the side down here is a bit minging. The little artwork on the side looks alright. It's going to need a hell of a clean. But I can get that done. Right, and then the two light bulbs up here look okay. I mean, it fit, so it should work. Right. Let's start with the obvious. Let's fix this first. Where's all my tools? I don't think I'm going to need an extra perspex. I think I might get rid of that. And let's get my toolbox down in arm's reach. And my two remotes here so I can change my tunes as and when. Right, what we got here? Some new Loctite gel. Problem with super glue is that super glue discolors perspex, which is a nightmare. When you put super glue on clear, right, and this is also going to squirt everywhere as well. Like the moment you put it on, it squirts. All right, let's put this on here. Let's get this glove on. All right. So yeah, the moment you put any super glue on a clear piece of acrylic, what will happen is it will start making like an opaque white residue inside. It's almost like a chemical reaction. It just sort of burns it, which doesn't really matter on this piece. Look, you can see there's a little bit there. I don't know if you can see. Like, oh no, you're not going to focus. Not going to focus. Oh, there you go. Oh, I had it. Yeah. So there's like white residue on there where the paint's gone, but it's going to be under the black paint anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you can just see it. All right. So I'm going to need some tissue paper. All right. And I'm going to also need some coffee, because I am feeling a bit fragile this morning. Hopefully I can get this done in about an hour, because I've got stuff to do today. Let's just... Alright, yeah, that's fine. I might not apply it straight from the nozzle. What I might do is... Oh, actually, it might be alright. Let's have a quick look. Alright, I need to get that in. Yes, right, okay. What I'm going to try and do is get this where it's supposed to be first. Alright, so that's supposed to sit in there. Can I actually glue that to the inside? No. It does, it's a nice fit though. You can see it's kind of, it's to stop light flooding in the underside. It did work really well, actually. I was quite pleased with that. Alright, let's get the let's get that glue on there. So I need to basically measure it. Okay, it's not quite in the middle. Again, none of this is like super on point. It's all kind of a bit rough around the edges, but that's like the charm of the stuff that I build. I'm gonna put it right there. Okay. I can always snap it off if it doesn't work. Let's add a little bit. Let's add a little bit of glue, like a tiny smidgen of glue here. Doesn't need to be a lot. Here we go. There you go. Just enough. Because again, I don't want to discolour the clear perspex. What I sometimes do is, as I'm adding glue to like a piece like this, what I might do is just get a needle, like a sewing needle, and just rub glue on a small edge, a smaller amount on the edge. Alright, let's try and get this lined up. I'd say that's about right. Alright. That's going to take a while to dry. Let's just make sure I can line it up properly. Let's try it again. Down here. Alright, I want it about there. That feels right. Hopefully that's right. I really need it at 90 degrees. Now last time I lined it up by just literally putting it on the piece, like flat on this cutting board, and then using that basically as a 90-degree angle. I try and keep everything angular. Not that it's super important, but it's just nice, you know. I can add a little bit more glue if this is actually in the right place. I'll add a little bit more glue just to get it where I need it. Like I say, it's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be a little bit, I mean, it's meant to look handmade. Alright, let's see, did I get that in the right spot? Yes, I did. I got that pretty much, oh, there you go, pretty much in the right spot. Good. Alright, let's take it off. Add a little bit more glue. Don't break now. Have you come off? No, you're still on? Okay, good. Okay, here we go. We're going to just add a tiny bit more glue down here. Just a little bit on each side, just to strengthen it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually get a pin and use the pin just to put it inside. Pins. Where do I keep my pins? Okay.
When's the last time you had a serious debate about the barbecue? And enjoy cooking outdoors.
Aha. Two strangers alone.
Okay.
Two strangers.
So, we've got literally just some sewing pins, like nothing crazy. Alright, and then what you can do is you can use the pins just to spread the glue in the tiny little cracks that you can't get into with your fingertips. Coincidentally, I only wear these surgical gloves. One, because I have access to some surgical gloves, and two, because I have horrific eczema on the back of this hand. So, this I'm quite happy with. This looks like it's good. It just needs a little bit of a touch up of black, but I'm not going to use black paint. I'm actually going to use like a Sharpie pen. Sharpie pen. Where did it go? There it is. So this will stop light coming through. Basically, this little black section here, this is to stop light coming through. So it really doesn't need to be super neat. Why is that? Is that reflective? I don't know what it is, but it's black now. There you go. Right, so that's that. Alright. Coincidentally, all of the artwork on the front and the stuff, I printed using the... You know those little, like, Japanese Polaroid printers that, like, teenage girls make, like, the stickers with? It's one of those. It's not expensive. Right, so that's pretty much done. I'm going to let that dry over there. Have a sip of this. I've got about, I don't know, an hour or so to put this back together. At some point, I am going to have to look at my my old photographs of this thing just to find out what side this green and blue one was. I think they faced each other. Like, if I was going to do that, I wouldn't have them facing away from each other. I would actually have them facing each other. Plus, if you look at the glass, green one is here, alright? And the blue one is here. So I would have probably mimicked that with the side. Like, that, I wouldn't have made it so that they would be facing away from each other. That's not something... That's the kind of thing that annoys me when I see, like, art. And people who, like... I don't know, I'm not an artist. I studied art. I got a D grade. Okay. Let's put this cap back on. Oh no, I need the cap off, don't I? Right, where do I go from here? The last thing I'm going to do is the glass. Well, before the paint, obviously. I'm going to have to hand paint it again. I can't spray paint it anymore, which means you're going to have blobs on it. But, I mean, there's not really a lot more I can do. I can't spray it any more than I already had. Okay, so you can see, while it's open, you can actually see inside. My soldering skills are abysmal, I know, and I've covered everything in hot glue because I was having issues. Like, there's a massive lump of it there. Basically, what I've done is these 4 USB ports here. This bottom left one, I've actually disconnected and run wires out the back to a spare USB Type A that I had on the side. Because if the thing sits like that, which it's going to, you can't access the USB ports. So even though it does wireless controllers or not, sometimes you're going to want to plug in a keyboard and mouse if you're doing like Nintendo DS and whatnot. So if you've got a wireless keyboard and mouse dongle, plug it in there. And that's it. Coincidentally, these controls on the top, one is the on and off function. So when you, I think it's this button here, like you click it once, it goes on, click it twice, it goes off. And this button in the middle just turns on a really bright light at the back. And I had no other reason to do it, I just thought it was funny. And then they just click on there. What I did was I stuck the side of the switches to a little piece of Perspex and then made like a T shape underneath. So that bit sits on the top. And this button on top here, this knob on the top here, is for the marquee up here. So when you flick the joystick across, the marquee comes on. These little holes here serve no purpose other than just to vent air out. It's exactly the same design spec as the flux capacitor that I built. So I'm basically doing that. All right. I'm like doing it again. All right, more coffee. Here we go. So the idea was when I originally built this, the woman that I'm building this for, she had like a mini NES and a mini SNES, and she, I said, well, you know, if you want, I'll just build you one. Oh no, how did it start? I remember there was a conversation. I'll tell you what happened. When I was, I finished the flux capacitor, and sorry, I'm just scraping off some of the old. There's a little bit of glue residue on here, so I'm going to get rid of that. When I spoke to her originally, when I installed the flux capacitor originally, I got a text message, literally as I was going, because I've known these guys for years. How many years? Oh, God. Jesus. Well, my daughter's nearly 18. So let's say nearly 18 years I've known these guys. So, as I'm installing the flux capacitor at Kenneth's house, I come back as I'm literally on my way back, I'm in the car on the way back, and I get a text message saying, "Oh, that's really cool. Can you build me one?" And I'm like, "Ha ha ha ha, sure." And then as I get home, I get, "Ha ha ha ha, no really." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then after that, I was like, "All right, look, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. What do you want?" Basically, I was like, "Look, I can build." I came up with a few like proofs. I was like, "Well, maybe I could do a Game of Thrones one. Maybe I could do World of Warcraft one, because she's into World of Warcraft. She's obviously into Game of Thrones." And then she was like, "Yeah, they're really cool, but you know, what was it? They're really cool, but there was something that she said about, it was some mention of like something retro," and I was like, "Yeah, that's no problem." And then like within, I don't know, it must have been about 10 minutes, I sent her another message saying, "Look, if you really want to go crazy, I'll just build an arcade machine. Like, it'll be exactly the same as the flux capacitor." See, with the flux capacitor, these two bulbs here, there was actually 4 mini LEDs connected to a switch, which was on the side, like a big toggle switch. Same toggle switch, still wired up like that. And the button here that turns it on was on the side. So when you press that, it comes on. And the drive light, because this has got a drive light as well, behind this thing is a yellow bulb, which is connected to the GPIO pins. And when it accesses the SD card, the drive light flashes. So with the flux capacitor, it has, when you flick this button, the 4 points of the 3 outer points and a 1 center point comes in. So you flick it, and it's like in the film where it goes, flux capacitor fluxing, click. And this is basically the same design specs as that. So yeah, so I get this message saying, "Ha, can you do it?" And I was like, "Yep, fine. Why don't I just build an arcade machine? If you really want to go crazy, I'll build you an arcade machine. And it will be exactly the same as the flux capacitor, like no different inside." And boy, was I wrong. It was an utter nightmare. Like, I have never had such a absolute nightmare putting the thing together. And to be honest, the wiring and soldering and whatnot, my wiring and soldering has got way better since I built this. This is abysmal. Like the PlayStation Legacy, like my soldering in that is just infinitely better. But you know, whatever. I'm not going to rebuild this. I've checked the connections. They seem okay. So we'll see. All right, I think I've got to the point where this is smooth enough now. There is a little bit of paint left over. I'm going to give it a bit of a clean before I mean, it's quite nice to have a nice. I'm not going to get rid of all this paint on top, because now what I've got is a nice flat surface area on the top for the glue to adhere to. So I don't really want to get rid of it. And it's, if I have to struggle to get it off, then once I've put the glue on, you know what I mean? It's going to struggle to break the glue off. What I want is the sides to be nice and flush, and that's the problem. Was I using... You know what? I don't know if I actually used super glue for this. I might have used the resin. I can't even remember how I built this thing. It was so long ago. I built this like last November. I built 3 more since this. I built the... Oh, what did I build? I built the... Which one did I... Oh, the... What do you call it? Doctor Who. The Doctor Who police box one. I built that. And then I rebuilt the Janus Pie, which is now the... what do you call it? Wild Pie. The one with the Amiga side and the other side. So I've actually sort of got better at it. And I built another one as well. What other one did I build? I built this one, I built the flux capacitor, I built the Janus Pie. There was another one I built as well. Okay, that's looking pretty good now. All the binding came off as well. That was the thing. When I broke it, all the binding came off. So this area here is actually quite tacky still. All right, what's the best way of doing this? Stick them to the top and get them lined up, or... think I might stick them here and get them stuck to that first. Yeah. And then after that, then I can maybe bend it or mould it a little bit. Right, I'll stick the glue to this section. And then I'll hopefully... I mean, the glue that I use... Full disclosure, when I build these things, I build them from, like, cheap parts. And, like, this is from the pound shop. This is from the pound shop. My tools are from the pound shop. This is what I'm going to make the binding out of. This is from the pound shop. Everything's from the pound shop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a 3D printer. I don't really have any printer. The only printer I use is that little toy. You know what I mean? Like the printer for the little stickers, which is again like a child's sticker machine. You know what I mean? But it looks legit. I mean, like if you look at that, that actually looks legit, and the light shines through it because it's clear. See? Okay, let's get this done. I'm gonna need, you know what I'm gonna need? I haven't been wearing all this time. My glasses. And I can't see them, so you know what? Forget that. Let's get this done before the glue dries. Alright, where's my pins? I'll put my glasses on in a minute. Alright, let's spread that over with this needle. Just to get a nice even coat. The thing with these is, right, and the reason I build it with stuff from the pound shop is because anyone can do it. Like, you don't need... is my bald head going to be in this? A little bit, alright. Here we go. I haven't even cut my hair this morning. I'm having a real lazy day. My daughter's got a job interview. And that's pretty much the only thing going on with me today. I want to play some more of that Red Dead. Like, apparently Red Dead Online is good now. And I've been having such a good time with that that I'd like to play a bit more of it, to be honest. Yeah, I really liked Red Dead Online. In fact, would it be easier doing it like this? Might be, you know. Alright. Let's see if I can actually turn it around so I can see it. There we go. Come on. I might need to reapply the glue. Yeah, I'm gonna need to reapply that glue. Yeah, okay. Alright. Desperately trying not to get it on the front or put too much on so it sort of oozes over the side. I'm just going to reapply the glue because I've kind of smeared it on the inside of that thing. Okay. Let's get my pin. So yeah, the reason I started doing this in the first place, actually, and the reason I build these for my mates, like I don't build these to order, I just build them for my mates, is because A, like my mates are everything to me, and two, if I can do this, you can do this. Like there's nothing stopping you. I told you I have a D grade art GCSE where I in fact my parents actually went up into their loft recently, or it was their loft or their attic or the garage or something, and actually found my school report from sixth form where it actually says design and technology is not Jonathan's strongest point, and in fact was the wrong decision for him to choose. Basically, design and technology not for him. That was a mistake. And I'm like, well, considering I'm doing this now, I don't know, maybe it was a mistake. Alright, here we go. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure, make sure there's no glue on my fingers, because I'm actually looking at the top part. Alright, just apply a little bit of pressure. You see me? Hey. Look at my ugly ass face. I haven't shaved. My skin's broken out because I've been taking a new protein supplement, which is basically just sugar. And yeah, my skin's pretty bad. All right. Okay, let's have a quick look. That should have done the majority of the work. Yep, that's not... Oh, no, it's going to need a little bit more. Okay, we'll just leave it there for a bit. Right, while I'm doing that, let's have a quick look here. Alright, can I put that in like that? Yes. Yeah. Alright, there, that'll look pretty good once it's in. Alright. That doesn't look too bad, actually. The thing is, I'm going to... Across the top, it really doesn't matter because I'm going to make binding, like guitar binding out of that. So, it's, you know, not necessary for it to look super neat across here. I'm just annoyed that the underside... I don't know why this white section here, which you can't see because I'm pointing behind it, but this white section here has absolutely muffed itself up. I'm gonna need some tweezers and a brush as well. When I install the glass, there we go. A little, tiny little brush from a shaving kit. What else am I gonna need? Some glue and a glue stick. And probably this. Alright. And that's going to need a little bit of glue there as well. Okay, more coffee. Wait for this to dry. Thrilling live streaming, waiting for glue to dry. Okay, let's try. I think that's predominantly done now. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna need... If I try and glue... See, because I've got a little gap here, what I might do is glue down here and across the top and then glue... Actually, that's gonna be pretty tricky. Does that move? A little bit. I mean, I can cover the binding. I can cover that with the binding, so it's not super important. Let's just get this one side on. This is going to need quite a lot of glue, actually, because I need this to go across a bit of a gap. That might be a bit too much. Never mind. All right, let's put this on here. See, the thing with guitars is, guitars are great because the paint doesn't have to be great at all. Like, I genuinely want to build a guitar. I'm not saying that it's not hard, it's very hard, but I want to try and build one with hand tools. And the beauty of binding is that if you muff up something, or... Oh, there's a big old hair there. Brilliant. Ain't mine, is it? If you muff something up, or it just doesn't go the way you think it'll go, just cover it up with binding. You can hide a multitude of sins with binding. Right, this glue is actually melting the paint. That's annoying. Oh, not as annoying as me just putting my finger in it. Okay. Alright, here we go. Spread it with the needle. That's a hard lump already. Alright, here we go. Alright. I'm going to put this in like a false tooth, maybe. Remembering that if the glue touches the... if the glue touches the purple paint, it will remove it. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna press in here and press here. Oh, for... So a little bit too much pressure there. Ay, 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 ay. I managed to save it. I'm just going to add a little bit more. It's okay. Chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Don't do it. Don't. You know what you want to do, but you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You're going to be relaxed. You're going to be calm. And you are not going to say the words that are flying around in your head right now. Because that would be bad. Alright. Okay. Making sure there's no glue on there. Alright. So, I believe if I can just squeeze that in a little bit. Right, what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to build an underside for it and put some little rubber feet on it to stop something like this happening again, because it slid off. It actually slid off a bookshelf. Even though I don't talk about it, I do actually have like a couple of hundred books. So bookshelves are everywhere in my house, like literally everywhere. And how's that looking? That's actually not looking too bad. I didn't muff up the paint job too much. Like I say, I can touch it up with... what I intend to do is get the gloss spray paint, spray it into a cup, and then dip in a paintbrush, and then just hand paint like any little bits. But the binding should take most of it. Alright, I'm fairly happy with that. That seems like it's... I think the problem I had last time was that I used the it's like a liquid plastic, and although it says it's for perspex, and it did work well with some perspex, this one it just didn't like. I think it's because this was originally like a Chinese case, which is plastic but not like a clear bit of perspex. And everything else was, it just didn't adhere to it as well as I would have hoped. Right, that looks like... That actually looks pretty good. Alright. Let's have a quick look at this side. Alright. Now this one is going to work first time. You're not going to apply too much pressure, and it's not going to explode all over your front room floor, is it? This is going to go swimmingly. Or else. Alright. That's going to need a little bit of... That's going to need a little bit of encouragement to go over that side. But I did a pretty good job cutting it, so... Yeah, that's going to need a little bit of encouragement to go that way. I might just pop... Because this back bit I haven't actually adhered yet, so I might just pull it down a tad. Yeah, that's actually come up a bit too high. That's supposed to be down there. Okay. When I stick it, I'll just put a little bit of pressure there. Okay. Alright. How's this looking? Is this looking pretty nice? Thank you. Yeah, it's I hand built it. I've got if you go to my YouTube video, you can actually see the process of me building it. It looked really nice before I dropped it. But there you go. I was so gutted. I've never been more gutted. I've had this thing since... I think I finished it in like... December? January? Something like that. And it's been sat in my house and I've just never... You know, had... Because like me and the lady I built it for have seriously busy lives. I was like, look, I'll come round and I'll drop it off and I'll do all this, and it's just... We just never, ever got round to it. And the problem with that is that it's just been sat in my room, and when you've got kids, it's only a matter of time before it gets broken. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want this thing to get broken. Let me just put it in bubble wrap. And as I was putting it in bubble wrap, I dropped it on the floor and it just shattered into a million bits. Oh, good lord. Alright, here we go. Like I say, when it's done, it'll look great. So the actual stick and the buttons. So, believe it or not, hang on, let me just get this bit on and I'll explain, because I just need to have a quick little moment just to make sure it goes in the right spot. Hang on. I want the front side to be more... The back side I'm not too worried about because I can cover that up with binding and paint, but the front side has to be right. Alright, let's just negotiate it in. There we go. Alright, give me 1 minute. So the stick and the buttons on the front, they're actually just one's basically a light switch for the joystick is basically a light switch for the marquee, and the button on the side runs a script on the Raspberry Pi inside. So you don't actually control it via the stick. What you've got inside is a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. And like I say, the buttons on the front, one actually runs a startup script and a shutdown script. So if the game crashes or, you know, whatever, if you have any problems at all, or you just want to turn it off, you just press that button and it runs a shutdown script and the whole thing just powers off. Behind the screen, it's not actually a screen. What it is just, it's a bit like the Atari Lynx or the Atari Game Gear. It's got like an aluminium foil, I insulated it, but an aluminium foil back reflector. And on top of that is just a couple of LED bulbs. And what that does is every time it accesses the SD card, it flashes. So it you can actually see when it's, you know, working or saving or loading or stuff like that. On the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, what I do is I try and all my images I kind of like hand build as well for the most part. It is running RetroPie and it is running Emulation Station, but that's pretty much where that ends. I scrape all my own box art for the most part. I try and get everything running. I set up all the emulators for the person who's going to be using it rather than myself. Currently on this one I'm holding, there's about 4,500 games. It's a 64 gig SD card in it. I actually told the lady that I was going to buy it because I've built, 4 of these so far, of this particular type. And the lady that I built it for, I said, look, we did the maths, and if you played one game every day, regardless of whether you finished it or not, but if you played one game every day, it would take you about 12.5 years to play everything on here. Which I know you get a load of like Chinese knockoffs, and you get like, you know, that hasn't stuck at all on the bottom side, but I can add some more, that's fine. Let's see if this just pops off. Okay. Alright, it's not doing too bad. Yeah, I know you get a load of like Chinese bootlegs and like Famiclones and stuff like that, but you know what I mean? It's not one of those, and it's not designed to be one of those. It's designed to be, again, I build my projects like this for the person who's going to use it. So, like, I built this specifically for her because I know what she's into, and I knew, you know, kind of the kind of things, like the bubble motif. So, when I first built my first Raspberry Pi, she came to my house, and I was like, look, do you want to have a go at this? And I basically showed her the way it works and whatnot. And then she spent like an hour playing Bubble for the NES. So when it came to actually building it for her, I was like, well, like I say, I build these for the people that, you know. This is, again, it's kind of why I don't do like commissions or anything. I don't build them for, you know, random members of the public. Not because I don't want to. Like, I would like to, but that's not what I do. I generally speaking, just build for my friends. Because, like I said, A, friends are everything, and B, I can tailor what I'm building specifically for them. Which does make things easier. Even like like I say, like the UI and everything is just tailored for them. And the intro, because I build all video intros, I like make video intros for it as well. I mean, I would highly recommend getting into, like, if you're into, like, retro games, the Raspberry Pi is fantastic. It costs 34 quid. And I have zero. Like, I mean, I used to, you know, tinker around with computers way back in, like, the late 80s, early 90s. So I've got, when I was a kid, you know what I mean? I grew up on the Commodore Amiga, so I have a kind of understanding. But as far as coding goes, like, because you have to use Linux for a lot of this code, I know nothing. I've got no qualifications. I don't even have an art, you know, GCSE. But I got into it because I really wanted, you know, to play some retro games. So I would highly recommend, if you're not sure, give it a shot. If you can't figure out how to do it, the most you've lost is 32 quid. You know what I mean? It doesn't help that Nintendo shut down all the ROM sites. So you have to go to some parts of the internet that sunlight never touches. And boy, is there some crazy stuff. Yeah, I'd highly recommend getting a Raspberry Pi. Like, seriously. I mean, they're cheap. They're pretty easy to use. All the resources are out there. Like, you don't really need to know how to program as such. You just need to know how to cut and paste a lot of the time. Once you get into doing sort of like... Oh, for crying out loud. Once you start, you know, trying to do slightly more complicated stuff, it does get a bit more tricky. But, there we go. Oh man, all the solder points broken. Alright, what can I do here? I am going to have to actually touch a little bit of solder on there. And the paint's broken as well. Oh my god. That has really, really wound me up. Because there's no other way to glue that. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right, the solder points I can fix. That's not an issue. But that glue part there, that is an issue. That is going to stop things working seriously badly. Also, the front is all wonky as well. I mean, there's only so much I can cover with binding here. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I've just glued that back on and now it's gone a bit wonky. It's a powerful app that lets you record a podcast anywhere and get it heard. It's super easy to get started. All you need to do what can I do there? I mean, I'm obviously going to have to glue it back because those are the buttons. I think what I might do is worry about that after. I think what I might do for today is, because the pelmet, not the pelmet, but you know what I mean, like the marquee is up and that fits. So I might, are we in? Yeah, we're in. I might get the glass in today and then do the soldering and whatnot later. These are the wrong way round, I reckon. I have a funny feeling they are the wrong way round. Because that doesn't look right. That looks well off. Would I have put the bubble monsters facing the other way? I would have swear I would have put them facing each other. That does look weird. Would I have put them facing the other way? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there. Alright, I'm going to worry about the solder point underneath, because that's, I mean, just fixing the solder underneath there is not that hard. Gluing that, that's going to be a little bit more tricky. But let's get the glass in, because the glass is the most important thing. Alright, let's get this out. And then repainting should be a doddle. Alright, here we go. There we go. So this is the problem I've got when I build like this super complicated stuff. I don't take into consideration exactly how much of a headache it's going to be. Because it's so tight. I mean, if you think the outside of this looks weird, you should, or, you know, complicated, you should see the inside. Alright, I need that corner to be down. Thank God I had the foresight to stick the inside to it. Goodness me. Alright. Okay. I can actually see where the glue was attached to that bit. Alright. Let's try and get this glue in, and then at least, you know, aesthetically it will be finished. I've just got to worry about the underside. That looks so weird though. I could have sworn that was squarer than that. It doesn't even... I mean... It looks the part, but I could have sworn that was squarer than that. I don't know. On the outside it looks fine. Kind of. Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe I've just put the wrong sides on. Why would they be facing the other way? You know what? Let me check it. I want to make sure that they're actually... Did I put it on the right side? Because if I didn't, I'm going to be really, really annoyed. Where did I do it? Where did I do it? Where did I do it? That's the Raspberry Pi. That's the arcade Pi. Yeah, that's exactly how it looks. Alright, I did put them on the right side. Alright. Then why does it look so weird? You know what? Forget it. It's done and it's on. The underside's screwed, but, you know, we'll worry about that later. Alright. Let's get this glass back on. So... Oh, wait, I need some, what do you call it? Glass wipes. Glass wipes. I don't think I've got any glass wipes. What have I got? Oh, I know what I've got. I have spectacle wipes, which are... These are really good for cleaning any piece of perspex. So glasses wipes that you can get from, again, Wilko's. Not sponsored by Wilko's, not sponsored by the Pound Shop, but if you're listening, lads, I'll take it. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're not going to use all of this, we're not even going to open it. What we're going to do, we're just going to wipe. Like this, because I don't want the alcohol to start removing any of that. And then the back, we can just go over with that. Get it nice and shiny. Okay. It's got a few little dings on it. Shouldn't be that bad. Let's get us a nice soft cloth. Oh, I'm gonna need some more coffee and all. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Okay. If the Pound Shop ever did sponsor me, it'd be the funniest thing ever. Oh man. The thing with the Pound Shop is, right, the Pound Shop's not bad. The Pound Shop is absolutely adequately, you know, fine. It's absolutely fine. Like, when I spray paint stuff, I use this like gloss white spray paint. It's £1 and it covers everything. I mean, it may, you know, wreck your lungs, but it does the job, you know what I mean? Alright, let's pop this glass in there. Now this should cover, again, a multitude of sins. I'm just going to see if it's fitting, and then I might pop it out and put the... Yeah, so I've got a little bit, I've got like 1 mil on one side. Maybe I can just, like, negotiate it in. Again, I use the word negotiate a lot, which is just another way of saying give it a bit of a push, and hopefully it doesn't snap like last time. Right, I need to, yeah, just dab a little bit of glue just down there. And then when the pelmet goes in, that should sit over that actually quite nicely. I keep saying pelmet, it's not a pelmet, it's a marquee. Alright. The marquee should fit on top of that. Should. Hopefully it doesn't snap. Alright, that seems to be okay. Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be okay. I mean, a little touch of glue wouldn't hurt, especially down here. But, as you can see, once I put the binding on the front there, it should get back to the way it was. Alright, let's take the... I almost said pelmet again. Let's take the marquee off. Again, without trying to scratch the paint. There we go. Should really have done that last. And then I think what I'll do is turn it on and just... might even play it for a bit, I don't know. Oh, hang on. No, I've got to be out of here in an hour. Alright, what's the quickest way of doing this? There we go. Just nicely squeeze it out. So yeah, this is like a 2-ply. This is actually like a 2-ply thing. So you've got one sheet of perspex here, which is just a bit of glass with a with like a border around it, with like the bubble border and the Taito logo at the top. Again, all just hand printed and hand cut with this. And then this is another clear piece of plastic. So it's actually 3-ply. It's a clear piece of plastic where I've masked off the words insert coin and then put the behind that is a sheet of like baking parchment, then behind that is 2 LEDs, then behind that is a sheet of aluminium foil so it sort of reflects all the light forward. It's kind of a complicated setup, but you know, and it's like all of that on top of this PCB here, and then it all goes back to this back plate, so I haven't really got a lot of room to work with. The fact that it fits at all is a miracle. Alright, let's get some glue on this. Now, I can't put on too much because if I put on too much, then it will discolour the clear acrylic, which I really do not want. Alright, here we go. Just a tiny little dab. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put it on a pin. Oh, I really don't want to put this down because I've just cleaned it. Alright, here we go. What I'm going to do is what I normally do. Just squirt a blob of super glue on there. Get a pin. Just dab the pin in the super glue. And then I can put on a much finer blob on there. Again, we don't need too much. This is just to hold it in the spot. And again, even though it will discolour it, I built the border in such a way where I could put glue in the corners, and because it burns into the perspex, the bub here and bob here, or bob and there and bub here, will actually cover that nicely, so it shouldn't make too much of a difference. Alright. And then all I need to do is worry about that paint. That has really annoyed me, actually. Alright, here we go. Let's not muff this one up, mate. Alright. Where can I hold? I can hold it at the top. Obviously, when I built this thing, it didn't have any of the stickers on. Alright. Let's just get that down there. Alright. Here we go. And now I just want to apply a little bit of pressure here. Just a little bit. Again, I'm just gonna negotiate the glass into position. Again, without smearing it with glue and without putting so much pressure. Ah, that's better. Yeah, push it down a little bit from the top. Come on. Alright, so that's looking like it's in position. I can probably wedge it down a bit more with the... I should have insulated this. I don't know why I didn't. I did this properly. Well, I didn't do it on the quick. It took me months to build this thing. But, you'd thought I'd do a better job at insulating it. Again, I haven't got an electronics degree, so... Alright, here we go. Alright, let's get this back on. Alright, so that sits on. And then what you've got under here, I don't know if you can see it, it's going to be really hard to see it. But the reason I put this piece of black... Focus up now. There you go. The reason I put that bit of black plastic on there is because this this piece of what would be the glass at the front, like the screen glass at the front, is angled. If the light from those two LEDs went straight down, it would actually bounce off the front. So that's why I put that that little like black piece there. It's again another piece of that clear acrylic. All of this is made from clear acrylic, which I've sprayed multitude of different colours. I really don't like the way that is now poking out. Why is that wider here? I mean, I cut it. You would have thought I would have cut it. I did. Everything is cut within, you know, 0.5 millimeter. Okay. Let's... While we're waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to cut the binding for the front. I could bind the sides, actually. Nah, it's too much work. Alright, let's cut the binding for the front. Alright. So, yeah, so essentially what you would do is you would flick this, and then those two bulbs I go back there, they're linked to the 5-volt rail, so it's a nice shine. Because this is just a clear piece of acrylic with a sticker on the front, it's like if you stuck in a sticker on like your car headlights, you're gonna see the light through it. So yeah, I mean, it's completely optional. I mean, once you've plugged the power in here, the thing is on, so there's no like on and off state. You've got a standard HDMI, a standard 3.5mm jack, and this is just connected to this here. I have to make an underside for that as well. That looks ugly as hell. Right, let's get the binding done, and then I'm probably gonna have to call that there. What the hell is this tune? Next. Oh, no, advert. Alright, cool. Right, let's get this done. Let's make sure there's no dust on here. Okay, I probably only need this to be a couple of mil. Yeah, probably only needs to be a couple of mil. Oh, is that double-sided tape? Yeah, that's double-sided tape. I don't need that. I need electrical tape. Here we go. Alright. Electrical tape. So again, just like when you buy a cheap guitar, and again, there's nothing wrong with cheap guitars. I absolutely swear by really good, high-quality cheap guitars. Just like a cheap guitar, you can hide a multitude of sins with some binding. Like, you can make it from wooden pallets, you can make it from plastic, you can make it from a dining table, you can make a guitar from practically anything. So instead it's just glued together. Well, I don't actually 3D print anything, mate. I build everything by hand. I don't use any power tools. I don't even use like a power drill. I don't use power saws. I use hand saws. I use hand files. I use knives. I use hand glue. Like, glue guns is about as mechanical as it gets. Yeah, I just build everything by hand. The point is, you know how, again, it's very clickbaity, but you know how sometimes you go on YouTube and it's like, this guy built, you know, let's say guitar. It's like, this guy built a guitar out of driftwood. And then you look at the YouTube video and he's actually got like $30,000 worth of like CAD equipment, and he's got, you know, all of this, like, he's basically got an entire, you know, like machine shop. I'm like, that's not the same thing. So I started a YouTube channel where basically you can hand build Raspberry Pi cases with cheap bits from the pound shop and stuff that you can either find or get for free, and anyone can do it. Because I don't even have a I don't have like a qualification. I don't have any, you know, degrees. I don't even have an engineering, like a electronics degree. I just build this stuff because, you know, I can. I mean, like I say, these things are cheap enough where if you decide that you can't, I mean, like everything here, this back piece was a case that I ordered from China. That was £1. The perspex I actually found the perspex. Someone just threw it out, so I took it. And the all the electronics were from China. Like cheap Chinese products. I absolutely swear by them. Alright, let's get this binding. This is not as straight as I would like it to be. There we go. Which one's better? That bottom one's better. Alright, let's try and get this binding looking okay. But yeah, I mean, go for it. You don't need any art qualifications. You don't need anything. You can just try it. I mean, these things are so cheap that if it completely screws up, like, what have you lost? You've lost, you know, 32 quid. And if you buy perspex on eBay, it's like £4. Like this, the spray paint for it, that was, you know, a couple of quid. These knives were £1. Glue gun was £1. Like, just get all the stuff cheap from the pound shop. Again, I'm not endorsed or sponsored by the pound shop, but if they're listening, I'll take it. I mean, my YouTube channel, if you go to my YouTube channel, the Pork Wizard, you'll see I built a scaled flux capacitor replica, which is exactly the same specs as that, as this arcade machine. And I built it from leftover parts from a different project. Believe it or not. And that was, again, for my mate. So, yeah, it was like, you know, the film Short Circuit, where at the end of Short Circuit, he builds a replica of himself out of spare parts in the back of the van. I did that. I built a scaled flux capacitor out of... Is this going to be big enough? Nah, it needs to be a bit wider than that. Okay. I built a scaled flux capacitor out of spare parts, basically. I have to order a few new parts from eBay, but not much. But yeah, I mean, like, anyone can do this. You don't need qualifications. You don't even need money. I build all of this cheap. You don't need a 3D printer. You don't need a CNC machine. You don't need, like, anything like that. Just a little bit of patience. And be prepared for things to fall apart. Be prepared for things to go badly. Be prepared for the paint to go everywhere. Be prepared for your kids to drop it. Be prepared for you to drop it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. It's not for everyone, but I'm not saying that, you know, this is, like, death to anyone that has a 3D printer. Like, fine, yeah, that's no problem. You want a 3D print? A-okay with me. Live and let live. But I'm just like, I don't even think it's exclusionary. I just like the fact that there's an entire, you know, world of people out there, because I was one of them, that were like, oh man, that looks so cool, and I wish I could do that. So I started a YouTube channel to go, you can totally do that, mate. Like, the change that you've got in your pocket, walk into the pound shop with it, and you can find enough resources and materials in there to build something that, given enough time, will look decent. Providing that you don't even need, like, artistic inclination, you just need time. Yeah, that'll be fine. That's cool. Alright, let's have a look. Can I get this to look somewhat decent? Alright. I can always slide it afterwards. The beauty of electrical tape is that it doesn't need to be good first time. It doesn't really need to be good third time. You can slide this stuff about pretty easily. Alright, here we go. Yeah, when I first started, I was like, I really wanted to build an Amiga. And I was like, I bought an Amiga, and I had to get rid of... I bought several Amigas, but I had to get rid of them because of kids, you know. But, once I discovered what a Raspberry Pi was, I was like, man, that solves all my Amiga problems. And then I built one, took me months to build my first one. Like get all the software and get everything working. I was like, this is cool, but it looks garbage. And then I started building cases for other people, and then eventually I started building cases for myself. And it kind of grew from there. Alright, let's have a quick look. How does that look? Better. Definitely better. Alright, let's cut the sides off. Yeah, I'm still not happy with the way that paint is kind of encroached on the side there. It was definitely a tighter fit before. I'm wondering if I've done something wrong. Okay. Yeah, definitely. You can make really cool stuff. Like this perspex that I'm using here, like this massive sheet of perspex. I bought some perspex on eBay. It was like £4 for a massive sheet, and I literally found someone threw this out. What I didn't realise at the time was I thought it was just like, this is like a 3 mil, like thick perspex. This stuff, I'm not quite sure. It's not like a acrylic, like standard acrylic or standard perspex. It's like, this is bulletproof, this stuff. It also makes it a nightmare to cut. And because the whole ethos of my channel is like no power tools, hand tools only, it took me friggin' ages to cut and shape this stuff. So it has its ups and downs. Alright, where's my decent knife? This one up. Nah, I need something with a... Yeah, that'll work. But yeah, I built a flux capacitor replica. I built a Doctor Who police box. All of them have got flashing drive lights. All of them have got like other lights that you can turn on and off. But the software inside, because I put all the software inside together myself, it's got standard like RetroPie emulation station stuff, but I kind of massage the software inside to do what I like. So I write all the scripts for like the let me try that again. The like start up and shut down scripts. I write all of that and then put all that on there. But again, it's like I didn't know how to do that, but like I say, if you can cut and paste, you can do this because someone out there has already done it. Okay, that's the binding for that side. What's that done? Is that going on there? I might need to squiggle that around. You know what? I might even just do a little bit of scraping there. Yeah. Alright, let's try this. Yep, there we go. And come on. Yeah. There we go. The binding's a little bit thicker than I would have liked, but it was a little bit thinner before, but it's decent, you know, it looks pretty decent now. It runs to the edge. I might just add a little drop of glue under there. And then I've obviously got to fix those buttons, because that's all come off. And the... What have I done there? Is that the ground wire? Yeah, that's the ground wire. So what I'm going to do is just snip, because again my soldering skills have come a long way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip these two wires here, just get rid of all of it, solder that button in. No, is that the ground cable? Yeah, that is the ground cable. So I'm going to just solder that ground cable back into there, and then these two, it looks like this goes to the ground for... What does that go to? That switch. Oh, it goes to the marquee lights. That's the ground for the marquee lights, and there's a ground for something else. I've just put the two ground cables together. So, all right, let's see if this can do with a little bit of glue under there. Yeah, looks alright. And this needs a little bit under here, but that glue will eat through that. Yeah. Yeah, I've got to glue that button in there. Maybe if I just hook around some glue on the underside, maybe it won't discolour it too much. I'll have to push it. I could probably push it in with this knife, actually. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright. Okay. How long have I got? I've got about another 20 minutes. Let's see if I can get it aesthetically looking right, and then we'll worry about the soldering and whatnot at another point. Alright, I'm gonna need something skinny with a crooked end. Alright. I've got all my spare bits here as well. Got this, again, another screwdriver from the pound shop. My leftover LEDs, leftover switches, some USB cables that I've sort of put together. I like learnt to solder up USB cables. What have I got? Have I got anything that I can use to add glue to the end? You know what? One of those LED legs might work. What's that? Is that thermal compound? What the hell is that now? Right. I'm going to use... Yes, I'm going to use... See, look, I've even got some of these light pipes from the flux capacitor left over. See, what I did was I actually built... I got these little hinges, clear perspex hinges, bent it over, and actually built the arms for the flux capacitor. There you go. Built the arms for the flux capacitor in there. I got some motors. Right, here we go. Let's add... Actually, look. Here's the front of the old Raspberry Pi case. This is what it used to be made out of. So that used to sit on the top there. And what I did was I just cut this bit off the top. You can see where it's all rough, if it focuses up. There you go. Where it's all rough, that's the bit where I snipped off the top to make this. So it actually sat on top of there, which is why it's slightly round, because I knew it would fit. There we go. Right. Stop stalling and put on this friggin' glue. Ooh. No. What can I use to apply this glue? I've got a screwdriver, that might work. Yeah, little mini screwdriver, baby screwdriver. Yes. Yes. Sure. Right. Let's add a little dab of glue on here. Oh really? You're doing that to me now? There we go. That might be a bit too much. There you go. Let's get rid of that. This binding's coming off already. Oh no, it's not. Alright, here we go. Let's just add a tiny bit of glue. On there. And I need to add a tiny bit of glue on the other side. There we go. See, again, like this is like my work tools. My work tools. Screwdrivers that came from a Christmas cracker set. You know what I mean? Like this came from a shaving set. You don't need to spend money. You can do this for nothing. And it will look semi-decent. Like it's never going to look professionally made. But that's not why I like this stuff. I like this stuff because it's a bit rough around the edges. Like I try and make it look as close as possible, but still a little bit rough around the edges is the look I'm going for. Alright, I think that's glue on there. A torch would be real nice, but we will make do. Right. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to push that there. Hopefully that's there. Hopefully. We will find out. Yeah, I mean, like I say, the thing I'm probably most proud of is the flux capacitor. That was a weird one. So, my mate's like, well into Back to the Future in a big bad way, like huge into Back to the Future. But originally it started out with us talking about like me making him a case for a Raspberry Pi, and I was like, he was like, could you put it in a Triforce? I'm like, mate, I could put a Raspberry Pi in anything. Like, you give me long enough, I can put it in anything. And it was similar like this project here. I was like, I texted him back and go, mate, I've had to think about it. Let me just build a flux capacitor. I think I can build one out of my spares, like my spare bits. And he was like, oh, whatever, mate. If you think you can do it, you do it. And I'm like, I think I can. And then it kind of snowballed from there. It's a scaled replica of a flux capacitor, and it's like 1-to-1 scale, pretty much, made from spare parts from a box. It's insane. Like, I think the only things I bought for the flux capacitor were the matte silver spray paint. I think that's it. Like the putty around the window, because it's got the window and everything. The putty around the window I made from a headphone jack cable, and the switch on the side I already had. The LEDs. I bought some like smaller LEDs as well. Alright, let's see. Do I need to add a little bit more? It doesn't look too bad. Alright, let's add a little bit more glue down the far side, and then I think I'm done. I'm gonna have to spray paint it again. But yeah, my scaled replica flux capacitor made for... I mean, if you took all the parts into consideration, without the Raspberry Pi itself, so just the case, total cost 15 quid, and £5 of that was a case because I already had it before. Like, he didn't even pay that, so the amount he spent, or he would have spent, I mean, I basically built it for him for nothing. I built it for him for cost. But yeah, a tenner. I mean, you can buy these replica cases for £1. So if you can find a Chinese case for £1, I built a scaled replica flux capacitor, Raspberry Pi, so it's got thousands and thousands of games on it, all wireless, synced up, ready to go, for a tenner. I mean, once the Raspberry Pi's in there, it's like £32 on top of that, and the SD card as well, but like just the case itself, tenner. Alright, a little dab in there, last little bit, and then I think I'm good. I haven't really got time to start mucking about with soldering irons, or maybe I do. I might give the soldering a little go. Alright, so we've got a little dab of glue in there. Again, it doesn't look ideal. It looked way better before, but I'm just gonna have to deal with that. It's a shame. It is really a shame. I'm gutted. Like when I dropped this, I couldn't scream. Like, so much like anger and rage. But my 11-month-old nephew, or my 10-month-old at the time nephew, was asleep behind the door, so I couldn't even scream. I just kind of made this weird noise. Gutted I was, absolutely gutted. Alright, so that's basically where I'm gonna probably leave this for today. Like I say, I just need to resolder that ground cable. But yeah, so essentially what will happen is, I mean, it will be plugged in. You press one of these buttons, I think it's this one here, the 2 button, and it will power on. It just runs a script. So it runs a little bit of code that'll essentially power it on. Every time it accesses the SD card, which is accessible back here. Come out, there you go. Every time it accesses this 64 gig SD card, it'll flash a yellow bulb behind there. It doesn't need to be on for the marquee lights to come on. You can just, you know, have that on whenever, once I reconnect the ground cable. But yeah, and the other light, that light there is just another little 5-volt light that I put behind there. But yeah, that's kind of back together now. It just needs a little bit of hand painting around the edges. I might redo the binding as well. I'm not too... I mean, it looks alright, but it looked better before. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that binding. But yeah, so we've got Boom, boom, boom. What was that else to be like? Progress stuff, things like that. I never did. Visual stuff, most practical. Yeah. Like me, I've been spray painting, you know, and making stuff with my hands. Like I say, I just looked my what was it? My sixth form, so whatever year that is, school report, and it said design and technology, like, is not his strong point. He should basically stay away from it. Yeah, well, I've just built an arcade machine, Raspberry Pi with enough games on here to last 12 and a half. Like I said, when I built this for the lady that will eventually have it soon, hopefully, I said that if you played one game a day on here, regardless of whether you finished it or not, if you played one game a day every day, it would take you 12 and a half years to play everything on here. And it's all like, it's everything. So you've got Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Genesis, Mega CD, PlayStation 1, TurboGrafx, arcade games, like the lot, and a nice little arcade machine. Bubble Bobble, because she loves Bubble Bobble. So yeah, I think I'm going to call that there. Like I say, I've got to resolder it, but I haven't really got time to do that now. I've got to be out today. But at least it's back together. Like I say, when I dropped it, I was so gutted that at least it's back together. I'm going to build a bottom for it as well with rubber feet, so it sits and doesn't have any more little accidents. Might just a little bit of white paint across the top here. And or you know what? Should I just repaint the top? I do like the arrows and the buttons on it. Never mind. Anyway, like I say, it's not as good as it looked before, but it's all up on my YouTube channel. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to call that today. But it's back, and then I'm going to I'll stick this up on the channel with the other one as well once it's all done, put back together, and I'll take it round to her house and install it. All right, cool. Peace.